I am so excited. I hope that you are excited as well because it has been quite a while since we've had tea with Carley. I'm not gonna lie, I've missed it. I love doing the YouTube videos, and of course, I make teaching English my top priority. I prefer to put you guys first. Obviously, you are not only some of you are my students, and then also my friends, my family, my viewers, you're my audience. So of course, I want to quote unquote serve you. But I do enjoy the podcasts because it is of a more relaxed environment, and I get to just share things that are on my mind. Now, up until this point, I've kind of had like a topic that I stick to and I tell you guys about. But today, I'm going to try something different because I know a lot of you guys on here, you are also students in the academy that I work for, Speak English with Tiffany. She's also another YouTuber on here. You should go check her out. She's amazing. She's definitely more popular than me, and you'll see that. She's amazing. She's one of my really good friends, and I work with her in the academy that she built. And so a lot of my students on here, or my viewers on here, are also my students, and you've all been asking me about how my vacation was. How was my trip? So if you don't know, if you're listening to this, I did go on a vacation. My family and I, my entire family, I have 2 boys and of course a husband, and then actually my husband's parents went as well, and we spent 5 weeks in both Japan and Vietnam. So total 5 weeks, and we spent about 3 weeks in Vietnam and a little over 3 weeks in Vietnam, and then about 10 days or so in Japan. This is just going to be a podcast of me. I kind of have a format, I kind of have an outline drawn up, but this is just going to be me sharing my experiences. You know, I've always loved traveling. I've traveled to many places. I think now I can say maybe 13 or 14 countries, which isn't a lot compared to the hundreds of countries that we have in the world, but I think it's a good number. I don't know, especially because I didn't even travel. I think the first time I went out of the country, besides like going to like Mexico or something, the first time I went out of the country was when I was 15. I went to 7 countries in Europe. I went on a trip with my school. And then after that, it was like, oh yeah, I have to travel everywhere. And so I went to Japan when I was a senior in high school. And then after that, I moved to Korea. And then I just kind of lived in Korea. I lived abroad. I was an expat. So I didn't really have to travel other places because I stayed like within Korea, traveling around Korea. I did travel to Japan quite often too. And I just explored Korea and Japan while I was living there. But somehow over the years, I'm 32 years old now at the time of this recording, and I was able to visit 13 countries and hopefully many more to come. But this past month or 5 weeks or so, I have been in Asia, primarily in Vietnam, because my husband is Vietnamese American and we were visiting his family, and honestly just having a great time traveling around Vietnam and seeing just how beautiful it is, because Vietnam truly is beautiful. And then also we had to go to Japan because Japan is near and dear to my heart. I always have a soft spot for Japan. I have plenty of friends in Japan. I think almost every day that we were there, we met up with one of my friends. So I at least have like 8 or 9 friends there, okay? Because we were there for 10 days and we met up with someone at least every other day. I was able to visit a lot of my friends. It was just a really good time. So I told you there's not going to be a dead set topic for today. I'm just going to talk to you like I would talk to any of my friends or my family. So I began traveling, or my family and I, we left on September 10th. And as soon as we left, we went straight to Japan and Tokyo, and we stayed in Tokyo for a week. And while we were in Tokyo, it was amazing. It was literally filled all day, every day, things to do. I had a million things on my list, and honestly, I couldn't even do it all. If you guys have ever traveled to Tokyo, you know that you're going to need at least like 3 weeks there to kind of be able to do everything that you want to do. And even then, you probably won't be able to do everything that you wanted to do. But I only had 1 week there at this time before going to Vietnam. And then on the way back, I went back to Japan for a few days. But when I was there, it was like all day, every day, traveling around, sightseeing, doing all the touristy things. And it was a really good time. We surprised my son, my oldest son. He is a huge Godzilla fan. So the very first day, as soon as we got off the airplane, we went and we stayed at the Hotel Gracery, which is the Godzilla Hotel in Shibuya, the Shinjuku, Shibuya area. My whole family was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's so much fun. But especially my oldest son, he was like in heaven because there's like a huge Godzilla head that is on top of the hotel that looks like Godzilla is there. And the hotel has like Godzilla gift shops and everything. So it was really fun. We did a few cutesy things while we were in Japan as well. We went to a few themed cafes. Of course, I had to go to the Hello Kitty Cafe. Forgot where the Hello Kitty Cafe was, but when I went to the Hello Kitty Cafe, I actually got to meet with one of my online students from the Speak English with Tiffany from the Academy. It was amazing. I don't know if she wants to be mentioned in my YouTube video, so I'll keep her name to myself, but she was so sweet. She was able to hang out with us there, and it was just a really good time being able to meet my students in real life, because a lot of my students, they're online, and even though we could kind of get to know each other by the classes that we have and everything, it's just a totally different feeling when you meet them in real life. Like, I consider my students my family, but again, there's some discourse because I've never been able to meet them in real life, even though I love them dearly. They're just my family members, but like behind a screen, and I care about them so much. But again, it's different when you get to meet them in real life. It's like you're like, man, finally. So it was really fun doing that. Of course, we went to all the cool places. We went to Harajuku, we went to Akihabara. My oldest also loves anime, so he was in heaven again. We went to SpongeBob themed cafe. Both my kids love SpongeBob, so we were able to do that. Honestly, it was just a really good time all around. Like, my husband is now in love with Japan, and I was like, I know, I've been in love with Japan since I was 17 years old. The first time I ever visited Japan, I've been in love here. Yeah, he's already planning our next trip. Like I said, we have plenty of friends in Japan, so we are planning to go visit them hopefully soon in the next year or so, go back and visit and spend a little bit more time there, because we were kind of rushed to do everything because we only had a week before going to Vietnam. So we were visiting our friends and stuff, but we were just meeting them for lunch or for, cafe or something and stuff like that, and then going our separate ways. But yeah, I also went to Asakusa. I don't think I said that. I went to Asakusa. One of my good friends, he took me there. I got to meet his wife and son, who I wasn't able to meet yet because of COVID and everything. I wasn't able to see them. His son is only a couple years old, so it was really good meeting with them. And then we went to Asakusa, which is like the temple area and everything. So it was a really good time. I cannot even remember all the things that I did. I went to a pig cafe in Harajuku, which I got to hold little teeny tiny micro pigs, and it was so cute. And for some reason, the pigs just gravitated towards me. Maybe they thought I was their mom. Sigh. But you know what? I don't even care, because I had like 3 little baby piggies on my lap, and it was so much fun, and they were so cute. So yeah, I was able to do a lot of cool things. My kids were able to experience a lot of things that I don't think other kids their age have had the chance yet to experience. So I was really excited for the whole family. But then we went over to Vietnam, and we were able to spend a little over 3 weeks in Vietnam. Our itinerary there was a week pretty much in each city. So we stayed in Ho Chi Minh City, or Saigon, which is where my mother-in-law is from. We stayed there for a week, and I was able to visit with my husband's family, his aunts, his uncles, his cousins, just have a really good family time. It was super rainy. It's rainy season, so it was super rainy in Ho Chi Minh. So a lot of things that I wanted to do, we couldn't really do. And then, the famous like pink church that's in Ho Chi Minh, well, it's being remodeled, so you can't even see it. It's like all covered up. And so I was like, this is totally my luck, like I'm so excited to take a picture in front of this beautiful pink cathedral, and then it's being remodeled, so it's all covered up and I can't take a picture. But I at least got to see it from afar. And I went to the cafe apartments, which, if you know me, I love me a good coffee, and I had an amazing time because it's like a whole building that used to be like apartments and stuff that they turned into like just cafes. There's some restaurants and some little stores too, but mostly it's just like cafes, and it was amazing. I found this one cafe. I sat down outside. I didn't like, my kids were with my in-laws, my husband was at an appointment somewhere. So I literally was just by myself taking in the views of Ho Chi Minh, and it was amazing. It was a beautiful day that day. It wasn't rainy, so it was really good. We were able to do like a little river cruise. We got to see the Mekong Delta. It was just a really good time overall. And then from there we went to Nha Trang, we took a bus, which was like a pretty like luxury bougie bus. It had like a bed and everything, but it wasn't like a bed. It was just like a very comfortable looking lounge chair that laid down, and you had like your own little personal TV. And I think it was about 7 hours or 8 hours on the bus. I can't remember, but I slept, man, because when you're traveling, it's tiresome. So I slept like a baby on that bus, and we went to Nha Trang, which is my husband's stepfather's hometown. It is a beach city and it is gorgeous. Where we stayed at was literally right on the beach. We stayed at this place called the Panorama, which is a beautiful hotel right on the beach. And there was like a night market right beside us and anything and everything around. And then also my father-in-law, he has a huge family. So we were able to experience many different things in Nha Trang, going around even to the countryside to see some of his family that lived out there and eating really good food. I think the best thing that I ate in Nha Trang was Vietnamese banzeo, which is kind of like a savory pancake looking thing. It's one of my favorite foods, Vietnamese foods, but it was just so much better in Nha Trang. And also you had to go off the beaten path. Like I ate this banzeo kind of sort of in the countryside, not in the touristy area by the beach, and it was that much better. And I think I paid maybe $7 to feed my entire family. So it was 4 people and it was only like $7. I was shocked. So I gave like a $15 tip, and they were like, oh my gosh, like why? And I'm like, oh, like it's no big deal. And they're like, don't, like, cause tipping culture in America is just normal to give a big tip. In Vietnam, there is a big tipping culture, but I guess when you convert it from Vietnamese dong to US dollars, the tipping is not so much. Like you would tip like maybe at most like 50,000 dong, which is like a couple bucks. But, I tipped like 150,000 dong or something like that. Or I just let them keep my change. I gave them like a 500,000 and I was like, hey, you can keep my change. So they were really excited about that. And honestly, it was really good food. So I was like, this is well worth the money, like, please. So that was good. And with the beach, we had like so many beach days. The weather was pretty good in Nha Trang. We kind of beat the rainy season for Nha Trang. So Nha Trang is kind of central Vietnam, or almost central Vietnam. And southern Vietnam was experiencing rainy season already. So when we were in Ho Chi Minh, we weren't able to do a lot of things that we planned because the rain was just so bad, like pouring buckets of rain. But then we went to Nha Trang and we kind of beat the rainy season there. So there was only about one day that was rainy, but the rest we were just like chilling on the beach like every day. I was drinking Vietnamese coffee and nước mía, which is a sugarcane drink, almost every day, or not almost every day. Literally every day I would drink Vietnamese coffee. Nước mía was almost every day I would drink it because it's just so amazing. Even now, I'm joking with my friends and my family. I'm telling them like, I've been back in America for a little over 10 days and I'm like, dude, American coffee, or just coffee in general that's not Vietnamese coffee, just doesn't do it for me anymore. Like I don't know, like I don't like it. Like I like the taste still. The taste is still decent, but I'm still tired. I can't make it through the day anymore. I think Vietnamese coffee literally changed me, where now I need that like super punch of caffeine in order to get through the day. So I totally blame Vietnam for that. And I warn you, if you ever go to Vietnam and you're there for an extended period of time and you have Vietnamese coffee every day, this is your one and only warning that when you go back to your home country or when you leave Vietnam, coffee will never be the same. Or it might take a while for you to readjust, because for me, I feel like coffee is just never going to be the same. But again, I've only been back for a little over 10 days. So it's like, maybe it will change, maybe not. So yeah, that was Nha Trang. Again, it was really fun. A lot of Koreans in Nha Trang, so I didn't really have to experience a language barrier because there were a lot of people who spoke Korean or menus written in Korean, things of that nature. It was good for me because I don't speak Vietnamese, so my husband, who does speak Vietnamese, I was gravitating towards him because I was worried sometimes things would get lost in translation. I'm very independent when I travel, but I did, because I was traveling with my children, I took an extra measure to just try to be safe and like stick near my husband or my husband's family, because I was like, oh, I don't want anything to happen or get lost in translation or something like that, and I end up in some mountain area. I don't know. But in Nha Trang, I felt a little bit more at ease because I could understand a lot, because there were a lot of Koreans there that I was able to kind of just take a deep breath of fresh air. Like, okay, Carly, like if they don't understand your horrible Vietnamese that you use from a translator and they don't understand your English, then you can try Korean and see if they understand. So that was good. And then after we left Nha Trang, we went to Da Nang, which was a very long train ride, very uncomfortable. 10 out of 10, do not recommend. Everybody says, take the train in Vietnam, it's so beautiful. No, absolutely not. I think my father-in-law said the train was from the 70s, which is fine. That's cool. But the mattresses on the train, because we got like a room with like 4 beds, and the mattresses on the train were so hard. And the train just shakes so much. Like it was just super duper uncomfortable. And then I'm an adventurous girl. I'm up for adventure. I don't mind it. But when you're on a super shaky train and you have to use the restroom, it's preferred that you have like an actual Western toilet on that train, right? Especially because the train ride was like 11 or 12 hours. So of course you're going to have to use the restroom during that time. But unfortunately, this train only had the old Asian style toilets, which is basically a hole in the ground. Now for me, I've lived in Korea long enough. It is what it is. I can do it. Sometimes you just got to do it. Be like Nike. I did it. It was fine. My 4-year-old son, he painted that bathroom with, I don't want to get too graphic here on YouTube, but the trains are shaking. He's trying to hold steady. He's trying to aim into the little hole in the ground. And yeah, it was just that whole, my arm had pee on it, my leg, my shoes, the whole room. Luckily, there's like a water hose that you'll see in a lot of Asian bathrooms to like clean. They use it to like clean the bathroom. So yeah, my son painted the bathroom there on the train. And honestly, the sights that we were excited to see, it was dark. We took the train at like 3 a.m. and it was kind of dark. And then of course we were tired, so we slept. And maybe I missed some really good sights. But I will say the train is an experience. So if you're going to Vietnam, do take the train at least once somewhere. Do I recommend taking the train for such a long period of time? No. But I will say that the train, it's a thing that I can like knock off my bucket list. Like, yeah, I took the train in Vietnam from one city to another and it wasn't comfortable. It was a lot of people in a little room. We had 5 people in a little tiny cabin. The bathrooms were weird. They didn't serve any food on the train. So we bought stuff beforehand because we were like, oh, we can make like ramen or something. But then the hot water dispenser thing wasn't working. So it was just like a lot of like bad luck that day maybe. But yes, I just do it once in your life. I did get to see like a lot of the countryside in Vietnam and how like people in the countryside live, just like the pictures of like cows walking randomly and people out in the rice fields. And it definitely was a good cultural experience for me. So I don't regret it, but I don't think I would take the train again. I would rather fly or take a bus or something more comfortable. But yeah, so we went to Nha Trang or we went to Ho Chi Minh, we went to Nha Trang. I did not mention that Nha Trang, as much as I love Nha Trang hated me because I had a string of bad luck in Nha Trang. And maybe I'll do another podcast or a video solely on everything bad that could have happened to me, that did happen to me while I was in Nha Trang. Because it was just like, man. But regardless of all that bad stuff, I still had an amazing time. So that's how you know it's a good city. It's a good place to visit, because I literally every day something crazy happened, but I still had an amazing time. So anyways, so we took the train to Da Nang after that, and Da Nang was a place that we didn't have any family there, but we wanted to visit because my mother-in-law had never been. It had been 20 something years since my father-in-law had visited, and of course my husband and I and our kids had never been either. So we went to Da Nang, and we actually met up with friends in Da Nang that we made one of the first days that we were in Vietnam back in Ho Chi Minh. We met this couple that were from Germany, really like amazing couple, really fun. So we were able to convince them to come meet us in Da Nang, and we were able to hang out for that week in Da Nang together. We went to Ba Na Hills, which, if you guys know, the famous Hands Bridge in Vietnam is in Ba Na Hills. So that was really good. It's very tall, like you're like literally on the tippy top of a mountain, and you take this, some people call it a gondola, or some people call it like a cable car. You take it all the way, like super long, really high. You're in the clouds to the top of this mountain, and then there's like a little mini theme park up there along with the Hands Bridge. So it was a really cool experience. Will I do it again? Also, probably not, because I knocked it off my bucket list. There was just a lot of people, and then I don't know, I loved doing it. I loved the experience of seeing that, but I also felt like, man, there's so many other things that I could be experiencing right now, but I wasted this whole day. Not waste, but it is like a whole day event, because you just have to get there, and then it's like a theme park, so you have to pay like a pretty decent price to get up to the top and entry and everything, and then you're there, so you want to get your money's worth. And yeah, it was just, I don't know, I recommend doing it once, but I probably wouldn't do it multiple times. But it was a really good experience. The coolest thing I think I did in Vietnam was something that I found randomly, which is called Monkey Mountain. It was like maybe 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes away from my hotel that I was staying at. Again, this hotel was right on the beach in Da Nang. Beautiful place. I love, like, Da Nang, I could live there. I think Ho Chi Minh or Nha Trang, I would want to visit, but I don't know if I could live there. Da Nang, I love it. I would live there. I'm not saying that I'm going to move. I'm just saying that it's an option. But the place that I visited, my friends and I, the couple that we met, and then my husband and I, we went to this place called Monkey Mountain, which, as you can probably guess, is a mountain with monkeys. And it has like this huge Lady Buddha statue, which is like one of the tallest, I think it is the tallest in Vietnam, and one of the tallest ones in Asia. And so we were able to go there and look around. There's like a temple, just experience the culture and the religions that they have there represented in Vietnam. But then we got to see monkeys. And oh my goodness, I got to take a selfie with a monkey. It was really cool. We were actually kind of bummed because everybody said you have to get there early to see the monkeys. So we woke up early. We got to the mountain at like 7:30 a.m. We walked around the temple and everything. We couldn't find any monkeys. And literally, as soon as we were talking about like, oh yeah, man, like maybe they're just like, hibernating or something. Maybe it's too windy, because it was very windy. It was going to rain that day. We're like, yeah, I don't know. And then as soon as we were talking about that, one of our friends, Jimmy, he was like, oh, look, a monkey. And then there was another monkey and then another monkey. We're like, oh my gosh. And then we were able to see quite a few monkeys. They came out to play and take some selfies with them. Of course, we were respectful. We didn't touch them. We didn't do anything. They actually come up to you. You have to be careful, because sometimes they want to fight you, and sometimes if I saw this couple, they were trying to take a picture together, and they put their bag on the ground to take a picture, and the monkey was like poop and like tried to steal their bag. So you have to be careful. I was not too close. I was leaning in, but I was also very cautious of how close in proximity I was to the monkey. I was like, I'm not getting beat up by a monkey today, not today. But it was still a really good experience. I think probably one of the coolest experiences I had of the entire trip. We did that. There was this beautiful cafe not too far from that mountain that looked like Santorini, Greece. So we went there, and it was just gorgeous because it's right on the water, and the buildings were white with the blue. And I haven't been to Greece yet. It's on my bucket list. It's something that I really want to do, but I felt like I was there, and of course I took a million pictures of that as well. So it was a really good experience. we spent a lot of time on the beach because it was like stormy, but the storms weren't hitting the place where we were. We were just getting like the side effects from the storm. So we would get like the wind and like the crazy waves. Like, I'm from Florida and I have gone to the beach during a hurricane before because, yeah, my parents, they were like, hey, yeah, nothing else better to do. Let's go to the beach and see how big the waves are. And I was able to like use my little boogie board and like kind of sort of surf the waves during a hurricane. But I have never seen waves like this. Like, the waves that we experienced in Da Nang were they were so cool. Like, we had such a good time. Like, and we didn't even have like a surfboard, or we didn't have a boogie board or anything like that. We just body surfed the waves and it was so much fun. My kids had a lot of fun. My husband, of course, our friends and we all had a lot of fun doing that. The food in Da Nang, not the best. I mean, I feel like the best food that I had in Vietnam was the pho in Ho Chi Minh, and then also the bánh xèo in Nha Trang. But Da Nang also has many things to offer as well. We tried like many different things there. I can't even remember like everything that we tried every day, but there's something called, it's like in English, I think it's called like broken rice. I think in Vietnamese it's called like gom tam or something like that. That's like my go-to as well. So everything overall was an amazing experience. We ended up coming back to Ho Chi Minh for a couple days and just chilling with family. We actually had my grandmother-in-law's death anniversary, which is one of the reasons why we went to Vietnam. So we were just there, had some family time before going back to Japan. And when we went back to Japan, we decided that we were going to spend 3 days in Japan before coming to America and just do Disney. So we only did 1 day of Disney, full day. We did Tokyo Disney Sea, but the day before we went to Disney Springs and walked around and got to experience that. It's called Ixpari. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, but Ixpari, which is like Tokyo Disney's version of Disney Springs. So we had some amazing ramen there. Actually, we went back the next day after Disney World or Disneyland. Disney Sea. Oh my goodness. Oh, we went back the next day and got more ramen because it was just so good. And then we explored, shopped. I bought way too many things. I left with 2 bags that were kind of half empty, like 2 suitcases half full, and I came back with 4 completely full. But it was a really good time. Tokyo Disney Sea was so much fun, except for the fact that it rained so hard most of the day. It rained really hard in the morning, and then it kind of sprinkled, but like a steady, annoying rain until about 4 p.m. So I was like, oh man, I wish it was, if it was a beautiful day, then 10 out of 10, that would have been the best thing that I did on my trip. But it was still fun. It was still a good time. It was my husband and my youngest son's first time to go to Disney. I've been to Tokyo Disney before. I've been to Disney World. My oldest son has been to Disney World, but it was his first time in Tokyo Disney. So it was a really good time. Of course, everything there is super cute because it's Japan. So we got all the cute little hats and everything. And I'll try to post a picture here as well of our cute little hats. Our friend Jade, who is in the Navy, she is stationed in Okinawa. She was actually able to take some time off and meet us in Tokyo Disney as well. So we were able to see her, which was awesome, and just have a really good, fun-filled day. I mean, we got to ride a lot of rides. I was nervous because I remember when I went to Tokyo Disney before, I was only able to ride 1 ride because there's just so many people. And that's usually how it is. But I don't know, maybe my prayers, yes, God, of course, answered my prayers, but also the rain might have deterred some people from going. So we were able to ride all the rides that we really wanted to ride, and then even a few that we didn't plan to ride, but we decided to ride them. So it was a really good experience, really fun. I definitely spent way too much money on all the cute stuff that they had there at Disney. I bought entirely too much, but I have no regrets. And then the next day we went shopping a little bit in the morning, got some amazing sushi for lunch. If you're ever in Japan, there's probably a million better places to go for sushi, but if you want revolving sushi, if you want that experience, I recommend Sushiro. It's a chain, it's all over Tokyo, but really good. There's this one sushi, I think it might be limited edition, so I hope not, because I want to eat it every time I'm in Japan, but it's shrimp avocado with like onion on top, like just raw onion. And oh my goodness, like it's so good. So we went to Sushiro and then like a bakery, and then we said our goodbyes and went back to Tokyo Disney to take the bus to the airport. And yeah, we came back to America. So overall, I'm just giving you like our itinerary breakdown in this podcast and just giving you a life update. That's where I've been. That's why I haven't been doing the podcast. There's so many stories that I could tell, but I was gone for 5 weeks, and I'm pretty sure I can talk for a full 2 weeks straight with no breaks on all the experiences that I experienced and all the fun things that occurred during that time. But overall, it was a really good time that we had with family. I think I forgot to tell you guys one of the most exciting things I did as well. So when I was in Japan, my husband and I did the go-karting through Tokyo, which I know is a little bit controversial. Some people, I understand how native people living in Tokyo would find it annoying, but for foreigners, it's an amazing experience. Like, I've been to Japan so many times, but I use the subway, which is underground, or I use a taxi, which a lot of times the taxis, the back seats have like little blinders on it where you can't fully get a good view of Tokyo. But when you're driving around Tokyo on this tour in a go-kart, it's like an amazing, I can't explain it, especially because it was like nighttime. It was all lit up. I got to see Tokyo Tower like right in front of, like, it was just the most amazing experience ever. So I definitely recommend it. You do have to have an international driver's permit to do it because you are driving on the roads throughout Tokyo, but it was just so amazing. I cannot, like, 100 out of 10 recommend. Like, I cannot express that enough. Like, it was just so much fun. I pretty much talked about just my itinerary, and I know I have a million other little stories here and there that I probably missed and I can go over, even down to little things like how I overcame the language barriers and navigating through these countries and packing tips and like other resources that could help you on your upcoming travels or whatever. I could go into detail on all those things. The food alone, I could probably do a whole podcast on just all the amazing food that I had or tried, but it's already a pretty long podcast that I've made so far. So I'm going to stop it here. This is just a little life update / itinerary, what I did on my trip podcast, but I do hope that you guys enjoyed listening to this. And if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope that you come back here for the next podcast.